Hi everyone, good to have you in class today. This is E+ Academic Resource Center, where we take online tutorials for undergraduate and senior secondary students. Do not forget to subscribe, like, share our videos so that others can see it and become part of what we are doing here. Okay, quickly, we're going to be looking at econometrics, and the topic of discussion today will be stages of econometric analysis, or you call it the traditional methodology of econometrics. By stages of econometric analysis, we mean the stages at which econometricians undergo before they can arrive at a statistical inference. Okay, now there are 8 of them here. There are 8 stages. I've outlined them here so that we can be taking them one after the other. Okay, so to illustrate these processes, these stages, we are going to consider a fundamental law by a fundamental Keynesian theory of consumption, Keynes. Okay, sorry, Keynes. We are going to consider a Keynesian consumption theory. Okay, consumption theory, to analyze these steps. Okay, so one of his theory of consumption states that the fundamental psychological law is that women, in brackets, is that men, in bracket women, are disposed as a rule and in average to increase, but not as much as the increase in their income. This is a fundamental consumption theory of John Keynes, an economist. Okay, now in other words, John Keynes here is saying that the marginal propensity to consume and the rate of change of consumption for the rate of change of income must be what? Must be less than 1, but greater than what? 0. The specification, that's the number 2 step now. After a statement of the theory or hypothesis, you move to the specification of the mathematical model of what? The theory. Now, a mathematical economist might suggest the following model for the Keynesian consumption theory. Might suggest something like this, B1 plus B2 plus B2 X. Okay? B1, Y equal to B1 plus B2X. Yeah? Here, Y is the dependent variable. X here is the independent variable. The B1, the B2 are the parameters. Where B1 here is the intercept, while B2 is the slope of what? The coefficient. All right. So this is the specification of the mathematical model of what? The theory. It's what a mathematical economist would translate from the what? From the theory. Now the third one is the specification of the econometric model. Now, to allow for the inexact relationship between economic variables, the econometrician would like to modify this model to become Y equal to B1 plus B2 X plus E. Okay? An econometrician will modify it as follows: Y equal to B1 plus B2 X plus E. E here being the error term. E is equal to error term, or you call it disturbance term. Error term or disturbance term. Now, the error term here represents all those factors that affect consumption but are not explicitly indicated in the model. Okay? All those factors that affect consumption. For instance, you have size of the family, you might have age of the family, and maybe religion of the family. So these are factors that are being considered when modifying the model. And that's what is represented by this E here, the error term. Okay? Now, to obtain data, number 4, we are in number 4, to obtain data. Now, to obtain data for our model that was given in stage 3, y equal to b1 plus b2 x, okay? Now, to obtain data for these parameters, to obtain variables for these parameters, we need data to help us compute for this model, okay? We need data to help us compute for this model, and that's where data, to obtain data, comes in. I don't know if you get it. This was the model we established in stage 3, okay? And to help us achieve stage 4, we need data for these parameters, okay? Now, for instance, let me give you a typical example. For instance, we might have computations like this. Let's have y, x, and y. Let's have 2001, 2002, 2003. For instance, I'm giving this a dummy variable, okay? Let's have 3.321.3, 438.4, and 221.5. Here we have 231.6, 487.5, 921.4. Okay, we might have a typical data like this. So by the time we compute our variables into our model, we'll be able to establish our figures for our parameters. Okay, all right, that's that. So let's quickly move over to the fifth one. The fifth stage, which is estimation of econometric model. Estimation of econometric model. Okay, the fifth one, which is estimation of econometric model. So let's take, for instance, we have values like this. For B1, we have minus 184.08. For B2, we have 0.7064. Okay, now to estimate our econometric model, we have y hat equal to b1 plus b2, okay, x. All right, so y hat now be equal to b1, we have minus 184.08 plus b2 is 0.7064 x. Okay, so these are estimation for the econometric model. So imputing the values here gives us this what? Estimation. So here, this number 6 now, there's the hypothesis testing. So it undergoes through 4 stages. We have the econometric meaning test, we have the statistical test, we have the econometric test, and we have the forecast test. Now, under the econometric test, we're going to investigate the sign, and we're going to investigate the magnitude of the parameter of the of the model. That is what we're going to investigate under economic meaning test. Okay. In our previous model, where we had y equal to I think it was minus something plus 0.70 then x. If you remember where we established under the model, the mathematical model, the econometric model, sorry. Yeah, so if John Keynes expected MPC to be less than 1, which is 0.70, then the MPC being 0.70 establishes this fact. Okay? The economic meaning test, that is what we're trying to establish here. We are trying to investigate what? The magnitude of the parameters. Then number 2, we have the statistical test. Now, under the statistical test, it includes the goodness of fit and the significance of the test of significance of the parameters. That's what we are trying to establish under statistical test. So if we say, before we accept or reject the model, we must make sure or ensure that the model is sufficiently, or the MPC is sufficiently less than 1. So to enable us make that decision, we subject the model under a statistical test. Okay, that's what we established there. Then under econometric test, we have this, and this. We are going to look into this in detail in our subsequent class. Okay. Then under the forecast test, we have the cross validation. We are still going to look into this in the subsequent class. So that is that for hypothesis testing. Then the next one is forecasting and prediction. Now, I've written out the model we established under stage 3 here. Okay, now to help us illustrate this stage, this number 7, this stage here, this forecasting and prediction, let's assume we want to estimate the mean consumption expenditure for the preceding year. Let's say 1997, for instance. We want to ascertain the mean consumption expenditure. Now, we have this value, okay? Now, how do we estimate? Now, remember our model, okay? Plus B to X, okay? B1 is equal to this, B2 is equal to this, then X is equal to this value. So we have Y equal to 184.08 plus 0.706 bracket 6213.5, okay? When you Y equal to 184.08 plus this times this, whatever it gives you, okay? You add this to this, then that becomes your main income expenditure. That's how you estimate and make prediction. I don't know if you can, excuse me, I don't know if you understand it. Okay, so that's how we get that. Number 8, which is the use of the model for policy purposes. Here, this is the final stage of the stages of econometric analysis. Under this place, this is where policymakers and those involved make decisions concerning the model, concerning econometric phenomenon. Okay, so that's that on this. So this place is basically the bottom line of all the stages. Okay, key decisions are being taken on this part. That's where key decisions are being taken. All right, we have looked at the 8 stages of the econometric analysis. In our subsequent class, we are going to look into details. We are going to go into details and see what econometrics as a whole is all about. This class is going to be very, very interesting. I encourage you to invite people and let's learn together, okay? Let's learn together. Econometric is a wonderful course and very interesting one at that. All right, thank you. Do not forget to subscribe. Thank you for staying to the end of the class. See you next time. Bye-bye for now.